are diabetes tips and tricks I learned from my trip to Japan / what I ate over there. People in Japan have a way lower diabetes risk compared to people in America, so I wanted to see what their secret was. The first thing I learned was that they walk a lot. I remember the first few days my legs were so sore, even though at home I usually walk my dogs every single day. And over there you just have to walk everywhere. You have to walk to the subway station, you have to walk to the shops, and then you do window shopping. It's just a lot of walking. And even though I was sore, it was a great chance for me to increase my activity level. And if you don't live in a very walkable area, what you can do is add a little short distance in your day to walk. So for example, if you park a little bit further when you go to a grocery store, that can help you get your steps in. Or if you go to the mall and do some window shopping, that is also going to be helpful to help you increase your steps as well. Now let's get to the most exciting part, is the food. So in Japan, there's a lot of convenience stores. There's Family Mart, there's 7-Eleven, and I noticed that some food packages have food function on there. I guess people are really interested in what the food can do for you. My favorite discovery was this barley rice ball. On the package, it says that barley has the beta glucan, which can help you lower your post-meal blood sugar, which I think it's interesting that it's on the package on the rice ball there, and it was made with kelp and plum, and it was delicious. It was chewy, it's very healthy for you, and I think it's interesting that you can find all these healthful food in convenience stores. In Japan, we had a lot of Japanese plant-based curry, and it was all delicious. And this is one of them. It had miso soup, and the rice was made with purple rice, which is lower in glycemic index. It also has a side salad as well. And the thing I love about the side salads in Japan is that they usually use a pretty light dressing. Unlike Western salad, where they use a lot of Thousand Island dressing or Caesar salad dressing or blue cheese dressing that are pretty high in fat, in Japan they like to use a light dressing like a ponzu dressing that is usually lower in fat, which I really love. On the 1st of January, we went to the temple, and near that temple there was a matcha house, which is really cool because in that matcha house they serve uji matcha. Uji matcha is a very famous specific matcha in Japan, and this was a set for a snack. And the snack was made of red beans in the middle, and outside was wrapped with agar-agar jelly, which is also high in fiber. Now, I'm not saying that this treat is refined sugar-free. I'm pretty sure they put sugar in there, but I love that they give you matcha, because matcha can also help you lower your blood sugar. And also, just a disclaimer, I didn't eat perfectly in Japan. Sometimes it's hard to find foods that are completely unprocessed, but I did the best that I could. Also, I love that in convenience stores they sell these chestnuts, and chestnuts are pretty high in fiber and they're pretty healthy for you, and they don't have any added oils or fat in there, so this was a great snack for me to have when I was hungry. We went to Nara Park, which had a lot of deers there. We also walked a ton that day, and for lunch we had soba noodles, which was amazing, and I also had edamame with it. In the soba noodles they also put wild vegetables in there, which was delicious, and it was with a clear broth. So this was pretty healthy. Usually when you go to stores, the soba noodles aren't 100% whole grains. It's best to choose 100% whole grain buckwheat noodles, but if you just choose regular buckwheat noodles, there's still some buckwheat in there, so it's not too bad at all. In Kyoto, we went to one of the best plant-based restaurants there. The thing I love the most about this restaurant is that it's small. People cook the food right in front of you. They have amazing side dishes that are so well marinated and give me a lot of ideas on how to marinate my vegetables when I came back. There's eggplants, there's green onion that is very well marinated. It's just green onion, but it was so delicious. And there's tofu as well. I couldn't tell what kind of vegetable it was, but it was amazing. I also ordered a side salad there, and they had these kebabs made with soybeans. It was phenomenal and it was very delicious. I loved every bite I took. And this was very unique. This was a brown rice ball that they made, and it has kelp on top, and you can put the vegetable broth on top and eat the rice with with the broth. I loved this meal. It had whole grains, it had vegetables, it also had tofu as well. So it was very well balanced and very minimally processed as well. In Japan, there are some Western cafes as well, so it wasn't all Japanese food. And in Western cafes, sometimes they do pretty healthy bowls like this one. And one thing my husband loved was the pickled cucumbers on the street. The pickled cucumbers on the street were amazing. It was a great way to add your vegetables in. And sweet potato in Japan was very popular. We had stir-fried sweet potatoes. I also saw a vending machine that sold sweet potatoes, which was very interesting. And sweet potatoes are lower in glycemic index compared to potatoes, so it's definitely a better choice in terms of the glycemic index. We also went to Takayama, and one of our favorite restaurants there was a small restaurant run by a husband and wife. And let me tell you, the food was amazing that even though it required reservation, we immediately reserved another meal the next day. And this was how the meals look like. And in Japan, shojin ryori is a very common way of plant-based cooking because the Buddhists in Japan usually are vegetarian. So a lot of their cuisines are called shojin ryori, and the reason why I really like it is because it's really simple. It's not like an Impossible Burger that's highly processed. It just really focuses on the vegetable itself and really using different herbs to marinate it to make it flavorful. We also have mapo tofu in this meal, and for dessert they served us a soy pudding with sesame and a cup of unsweetened jasmine tea. I think it's always nice to have unsweetened tea after a meal to help you lower the blood sugar. And then in Tokyo, I went to a plant-based restaurant that had vegan bibimbap, which is actually a Korean dish, but nevertheless, it was still full of vegetables and pretty high in fiber, and it was a delicious meal that I had. There's a lot of interesting restaurants in Tokyo that are plant-based, and what I noticed is that even though it might not be the easiest to find plant-based food in all over Japan, whenever you do find a plant-based restaurant, and I use Happy Cow by the way, whenever you do find a plant-based restaurant, it is usually delicious. My husband had this blue dragon curry. It was a vegetable Japanese curry that's blue. Isn't that amazing? I also got this matcha that was unsweetened, and they used almond milk for the matcha as well. A lot of times with plant-based drinks, I prefer to use almond milk, even though oat milk tastes amazing. Usually the oat milk that they use in cafes is usually higher in fat, so I like to use almond milk instead. In another plant-based restaurant, I also had this delicious corn soup and amazing salad with lotus root and radishes as well. And even at the airport lounge in Tokyo, we flew Anna, they also had an array of plant-based foods that you can choose from. There's Brussels sprouts and potatoes, there's kelp salad, there's corn, and then there's plant-based sushi that you can get. And at the flight, we had a pretty healthy meal as well. We had okra. Okra is amazing for lowering blood sugar, a healthy spring roll, and a vegetable curry again. When you book a flight, especially if it's international flights, you can actually have free meals and you can pre-select your meals. Usually we pre-select our meals to be plant-based meals or vegan meals so that they can prepare ahead of time, where on the plane you'll be able to have the option that you'd like. I love traveling, and usually when I work with my clients, I always tell them reversing diabetes is all about living life to the full. Of course, when you travel, you can't eat perfectly, but it allows you to enjoy life, it allows you to experience different things, and I hope that you can go live life to the full again. Let me know if you enjoyed these. I'll try to film more of these videos whenever I travel, so you have ideas of what you can eat when you travel. Japan, even though its reputation wasn't very plant-based friendly, we were still able to have lots of option. Other countries that I've traveled to, like New Zealand, Spain, were pretty plant-based friendly. It just goes to show that even if a country seemingly is isn't very plant-based friendly, you can still have a lot of options. If you want to see more of how other people are able to reverse their type 2 diabetes, you can check out my playlist on my YouTube channel of interviews of how people were able to change their diet and change their lives. And if you'd like to learn more about how to reverse type 2 diabetes with a whole foods plant-based diet, then make sure you check out my free reversing diabetes training. Link is in the description or profile, and I'll see you guys there.